Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video, and yet again it is another tutorial, but this one is a little strange. It's something that I not normally do, but I do have some great advice on how to start a YouTube channel from scratch. Now, I know I'm not the biggest channel, I know that, bear with me, but the premise is always the same. I have watched plenty of videos, I've got plenty of evidence from other YouTubers that have done this same thing, and I'm currently working on it to be able to grow myself and make myself bigger. Now, the first things you want to think about when actually thinking about doing YouTube is, what do you want your name to be? Now, at the end of the day, you are creating a brand. You're a one-man show, you do it all, a one-man band. So choosing a name can actually be quite difficult, but also very important to creating you as a brand in total. Now, the other thing you want to think about is, what are you going to be creating? Now, for example, I am a gaming channel, but I am trying, and I will be adventuring into other things such as, not vlogs, but I'll be using a camera, and that will widely open my horizon to different type of content I can create for you guys. So you need to think, what do you actually need to do the YouTube channel, to create the YouTube channel that you want to make? Or do you already have the things that you need? Now, a gaming channel versus a vlogging channel is completely two different worlds of what actually equipment you need. In this video, we'll be going over some equipment and some software and some other things that you just might need to start a YouTube channel. But without further ado, let's get on to the first thing. Now, the first thing that you would need is a microphone. Now, the Yeti, the Blue Yeti in particular, has a lot of mixed messages because it is a USB microphone, which a lot of people that are microphone enthusiasts and people who are quite high up in YouTube, they don't really like the Yeti because it can have quite a staticky sound. But if you know how to edit and you know how to change your voice in these softwares I will be labeling later, you can sort of fix that problem. And overall, it is a very good beginner microphone. As you can see here, it's £120, which I'm not quite sure how much that is in dollars. Maybe $150. Again, I don't know the conversion rates. But it's a very, very good microphone. And the reason is, you don't need a mixer, or you don't need any of the fancy things that a proper microphone has. This one is plug it straight into your computer and it works. It's that simple. And you can actually use this if you want to make a podcast YouTube channel, if you want to do tips and tricks, if you want to do gaming, lifestyle. It's a decent microphone overall that you can actually use for quite a lot of things. Now, if you are a gaming YouTube channel, I would highly recommend this because it does make your voice quite nice. But also, if you don't have the money, some headsets that you can get actually have a decent microphone on them anyway. It depends on how you want to sound, of course. Okay, let's get on to the next slide. Now, this headset here is actually really cheap. It's £35. Now, again, it will do the job. This is only if you're going to use the other microphone. This headset, it just makes it so obviously you can hear the game, and it's just a lot more professional because you have your own microphone and you have your own headset. Now, if you want to use a microphone of a headset, or if you want a surround sound or a better quality headset, you'd be probably willing to spend between £60 and £100, which can be quite expensive. But at the end of the day, it depends if you're actually that much interested into becoming a YouTuber, or you're just a gamer who really wants a good set of headphones, which, again, it makes up in both ways. Now, the great thing about today is that there are so many good recording softwares that are completely free. Now, I know back in the day I used to use Fraps. I know, I'm old. I've been doing YouTube for a long time now, but I've never done it consistently, which is one of the tips I will be telling later on. Now, Fraps had a pay feature to do certain things, and the same with Bandicam, which is a very popular one, and surprisingly PewDiePie still uses it today. But it has a paywall that you have to pay to be able to do certain things. But nowadays you have OBS and you have Shadowplay. Now, I now use Shadowplay nowadays, which I believe it's free on any NVIDIA graphics card. At least for the last couple of graphics cards I've had that are all NVIDIA, I've had Shadowplay, and it works amazingly. but OBS is also extremely good. Again, it is preference of what one you want to use. Personally, I prefer to record with Shadowplay, but I personally like to use OBS, Streamlabs to actually stream. Now, as I was saying earlier, it depends on what type of channel you want to be. If you want to be a vlogger or anything like that, you obviously have to get a decent camera. Now, this camera here it's not the best in the world, of course, but it records at 60 frames per second at full HD, which is 1080p, which is actually really good to begin off with. It sometimes struggles with face focusing and, you know, automatic focus and all that lot, but again, you're getting for what you pay for, and this is probably one of the best cameras that you can get for this price range, especially that it's actually on deal on Amazon. Again, I don't know American prices, but I know that you can get it quite cheap if you look in the correct spaces. And actually, this is one of the cameras that I will actually be looking at getting myself, as I want to do reacting videos and you know, other videos that would require my face. Now, the next thing that you really need to look at is what are you going to be making your thumbnails with, and what are you going to be editing your videos with, because this is an extremely important thing that you need to do, because if your thumbnail doesn't look good, no one's going to click it, and if your videos aren't edited correctly, they might not stay because they might get frustrated. So I personally use Premiere Pro, which I get for free because I go to university and it comes with a package, but I believe it's like £20 a month or something like that. Yeah, it says there, £20 a month, which, if you are interested in this, again, it's got to be in your price range. If not, I know there are free softwares that you can install. I don't know any off the top of my head, but I know if you look hard enough, you might be able to find free softwares that you can use to edit and create thumbnails with. Now, on the left we have Final Cut, and I know some people use After Effects. Again, these are the main ones. Some people even use iMovie, which I believe is free on Mac devices. I believe anyway, on Apple devices. But again, it is personal preference what one you use. Now, these are the main tips for starting from scratch. Now, the first one is consistency is key. Don't give up. I've been doing YouTube for a long time now, but I've only really been consistent for about a month now. And honestly, within this first month, I've actually done quite good compared to my whole lifetime of being on YouTube. Now, the reason I've gave up a couple of times was I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. I felt distorted, you know. I wasn't getting the feedback that I wanted. Also, I was going through my GCSEs. That's the first time I stopped, and then I stopped again when I was going through my A levels. But just don't give up. You know, YouTube is a full-time job at the end of the day. You know, even if you're not getting paid for it, you need to treat it as a full-time job. Just consider yourself volunteering until you get somewhere, because you know, it takes a lot of consistency. You know, you have to upload maybe not every day, but if you make sure that it's quality over quantity. You know that I'm uploading a video every day, and I try and make those videos the best I can. I really do. But sometimes it can be quite disheartening when you don't get the views, and you know, you need to ignore the numbers at the beginning. You really do. You have to ignore the numbers. You know, you have to keep on being consistent. So when people actually look at your channel, you know, they don't want to watch a person that just might fall off the earth, you know, they'll just stop uploading and just disappear. You need to show that you're consistent, and honestly, if you put in all the effort and you stay consistent, it will work. You know, it will work, and eventually you will go somewhere. It just depends on how far you do it. Now, YouTube is quite a niche, so your first 50 videos won't be the best. They won't at all. I remember my first 50, or even my first 200. I've been doing it so long. I was quite young when I started, and I was terrible. You know, who wants to watch a whiny kid who can't edit, who can't even record, and I'm recording in like 30 frames per second. It was horrible, but you've got to start somewhere. You know, the reason I uploaded those videos, and the reason I'll never take them down, is to show the progression of my channel. You know, practice makes perfect. You've got to keep at it, and eventually you will get there. You know, you need to learn how to edit. You need to learn how to make thumbnails. You need to learn how to talk. All these things that sound simple, but at the end of the day, they're really not. And only time will tell of how good you actually get at it. Now, the third tip is you are a one-man show. Because at the end of the day, you've got to edit. You've got to make thumbnails. You've got to create the idea. You've got to plan the idea. There's so many things you've got to do, and if you want to do a collab or a collab, you've got to make that happen yourself. You know, you're not a company. Well, you are as a self, but you don't work for a company is what I mean. You know, people don't do it for you. You have to do everything. Now, number 4, using a camera can help. Now, a thing that I've noticed since I've been looking at plenty of other channels is if you have a camera or a face cam, especially with Twitch streamers or just YouTubers in general, when you're doing reactions, cameras help make it more personal, and people love to watch facial expressions. You know, it's the little things that you don't really realize that people actually pay a lot of attention to, and it can help grow your channel if they just like watching you for you, which at the beginning is very rare. But again, it can make it more personal and can help your growth. It really can. Now 5 is, what is your YouTube niche? What do you do to stand out? Now, for example, the thing I've been doing is tutorials and how-tos, because I found that these things are widely searched for, and they get a bit of attraction. Now, some don't and some do, which can throw you off. But if you keep at it, you know, doing videos that you know will get some sort of search, like people will search it, that is honestly the goal at the beginning of your YouTube channel, is making videos that you know will get searched for. It's really difficult, but you need to find your niche. Are you a gaming channel? Are you a vlogging channel? Are you a financial channel? Are you a tips and tricks, a DIY channel? All these things, you need to find your niche and just go for it. Now, titles and thumbnails help massively. I've already explained this before, but you need to have a title that will get searched. You need to have a title that has keywords in it, you know, things that are searched really often, but also stand out. And then thumbnails also go hand in hand with that. If it's not a nice thumbnail, it doesn't pop out. You know, you want it to pop out to your eye. You know, you want someone to scroll through YouTube and your thumbnail, bang, pops out, and you need to click it. You know, they click it. You need that click rate. You know, people need to see it and click it. Start with something that people will search, videos that help you get your first views. Now, I did just talk about this, making a YouTube video that has a title and a thumbnail that will get views and people will click it, you know. Okay, number 8, choosing the correct tags for your videos. These help your videos show up. Again, I talked about this with the title, but when you're actually editing your video, in your uploading screen, I forgot the name of it, but when you scroll down, you can pretty much add tags for that YouTube video. Now, put in as many tags as you can. You know, anything to do with that game, or anything to do with helping people, or anything to do with gameplay, anything. Put any tag. Now, YouTube actually has a little feature where it'll show you how good that tag is, which I recommend. And I also do recommend getting a add-on called TubeBuddy, which can actually help you find tags that are more searched, you know, more common, and then you just honestly fill that with as many tags as possible so that you have the higher chance of actually getting someone to search you. Now, number 9, software for creating thumbnails and editing. Now, as I said earlier, you can find some of these for free, but I do recommend getting the good ones like Premiere Pro, Photoshop, just because these ones are more professional and you have a lot more choice on how you can actually create it, and it gives you a wider range of skills to learn, and also effects that you can put on your video and put on your thumbnail to actually make them look better, both of them. Now, number 10, make content to keep your audience there. Now this type of content depends on what you're actually doing. So tutorials are normally quite good, and how-tos are normally quite good, just because they will get searched often, or even if they're not often, people will search them for years on end, because someone might buy the game 2 years later, or if it's a life tip, someone might want it 2 years later. You know, you don't know. Those type of YouTube videos do get searched every now and then, and quite often. Or if you do a playthrough and people are watching you for you, again, that will keep them there because they want you to watch you. And if you have a big playlist, they'll stay on your channel for longer, which is what you want. Now, number 11, make yourself easy to find. Now, what I've started to do recently is I've made a Twitter, and you can make a Facebook, and all those different social platforms like Instagram and all that, where you can start posting content. Even TikTok. TikTok is a brilliant platform right now to get yourself out there. Now, what I've started doing is posting my videos on Twitter, with a link to my YouTube channel where they can subscribe, because I'm trying to get myself into many different platforms as possible to bring all these different people from all these different platforms into my YouTube, which honestly, it does help your growth quite a lot. And number 12. Now number 12 is one of the biggest, and that is look at what other YouTubers did. What worked for them and what didn't. Now if you want to make a gaming YouTube channel, watch a bunch of gaming YouTube channels from where they started and where they are now. What videos did they stop doing? What videos did they start doing more? How did they change their thumbnails? How did they change their tags and their titles? You know, it's such a privilege nowadays that there are so many YouTubers out there that you can search for any of them and get advice without even asking them, you know, get help, you know. You can find out what sort of thumbnails pop out, what sort of thumbnails do you want to create, what sort of videos get attraction and what don't, because these YouTubers that have been on YouTube for years, they've done trial and erroring for years, you know. And obviously they've found out the hard way what works and what doesn't, and we're so lucky to be able to actually grasp what they've done right. Don't copy it, but do the same sort of things, but make it your own. You know, it's such a privilege to be able to do that. So overall, that can help massively. But going back to number 1, consistency is key. So if you do this, you might go through your own stage of trialing things and making errors. So you've just got to keep with it and see what works and see what doesn't. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit of a strange one for me to do personally, and a bit of a weird format. I haven't really done this type of video before, but I really do hope that you enjoyed this type of content. I will be doing a little bit more of it, and I hope you consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you know exactly when I'm going to upload next. And please leave a comment and a like down below. It will help me massively, I beg of you. And leave a comment, what would you like to hear next? You know, any tips that you'd want me to say next, or any games you want me to play, or any playthroughs you want to hear, or anything. Honestly, I will check it out. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.